Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina wa Nabiyyina wa Mawlana Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Allahumma inna nas'aluka hubbak wa hubba man yuhibbuk wa hubba amalin yuqarribuna ila hubbik ya arhamar rahimin. The name of this session is a submission. It's about a journey from darkness to light. That's the theme of tonight. It's a journey from darkness to light. And when Mufti Abdul Wahab told me the theme, I was really hyped about it because as someone who has converted and spent 18 years in Jahiliyyah lost, I felt that it would be a beautiful opportunity for us to talk about what it means to go from darkness to light, what it means to make that transition. But specifically, the topic that I want to talk to you about is how the Prophet ﷺ used leadership to cause transformation. Leadership to cause transformation in the lives of the people that he interacted with. The Prophet ﷺ, he tells us in a beautiful narration, "An-nas ma'adin ka-ma'adin al-dhahab wal-fidda." The Prophet ﷺ, he said that people are like mines. People are like mines of gold and silver. And what that means is that people have qualities within them. But it takes other people to go into that mine and dig out those qualities and bring out the best of what is the best of what is within other people. When we look at the Rasul ﷺ, the way that he transformed, he led societies, he caused a transformation from within people. He brought out the gold within people. See, when you have light, brothers and sisters, you see the path in front of you. And you're able to walk on that path because of the light that you have. The Prophet ﷺ, he was given this light. And anyone who shared company with him, they saw that light and they walked by that light. أَوَمَنْ كَانَ مَيْتًا فَأَحْيَيْنَاهُ وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُ نُورًا يَمْشِي بِهِ فِي النَّاسِ كَمَنْ مَثَلُهُ فِي الظُّلُمَاتِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked me and you a question. He says, is the person who was dead and we gave life to, and then we gave them a light by which they walk amongst the people, is that person like a person who's stuck in darkness? The answer is no. Say no, it's not the same. You have a light that you walk with. And that light is meant to transform others as well. When Mufti Kamani spoke, he said that some things in life you have to experience. Words do not explain the realities until you've experienced them. Similarly, coming from darkness to light, it's hard for us to really grasp and understand what it means to come from darkness to light. When we look at the Prophet ﷺ, he brought transformation. And how did he do that? He transformed humanity. He took the Umar of Jahiliyyah and he made him the Umar Amir al-Mu'mineen. He made him someone great. He took Mus'ab bin Umair, who was a young man who was all caught up in his drip and looking good, and he made him a leader of the believers who was the messenger of the messenger. See, here's the deal. The light that he brought allowed people to see themselves. The light that he brought allowed people to see who they really were. But here's the deal. We don't like to see ourselves as we truly are. We don't like to step on the scale and look at the numbers. We don't like that. And so the Rasul ﷺ, he was asking people to open their eyes. He was asking people to open their eyes so that they could benefit from the light that he was bringing. And some people did open their eyes. And when they opened their eyes, brothers and sisters, they saw what they were doing. They saw what their society was like. They saw what their lives were like. And then they changed. When Ja'far radiallahu ta'ala an is standing in front of Najashi, Najashi is questioning him. What is this religion? Why did you accept it? Why are you Muslims? Why did you leave the religion of your forefathers? And Ja'far radiallahu ta'ala an, because this light of the Prophet ﷺ has been shining on him, he sees what he was, and he says, oh Najashi, you don't know what we were. The weak were consumed by the strong. The orphans were oppressed. Women had no rights. We ate anything. We didn't look at what we ate. We drank alcohol. We committed zina. See, the light was shined. And this is what I want us to understand, is that the deen has given you a light by which you walk with amongst humanity. And this is what the Prophet ﷺ did. He brought himself close to people. And when he was close to people, what happened is they saw who they were. And here's what I want us all to understand. The greatest prophetic quality is not just to allow people to see who they are, but to show people who they can become. Please hear me out. You are not prophetic if you don't lift people up to what they can become. If you are someone, when people are around you, they feel like they're worthless, they feel like they can't aspire, they can't go forward. This is not what people felt like around the Rasul alayhi salatu wassalam. There was a companion by the name of Zahir. And Zahir was a man who, according to the standards of his time, was not an attractive man. And one day Zahir, he was at the marketplace and he was at his booth and he was selling his merchandise. And I told you, the Prophet ﷺ, he always lifted you up. You never shared company with the Prophet ﷺ unless he lifted you up so you could realize what you could become. So he walks up behind Zahir and he hugs him. He was always looking for those people who did not truly realize their worth. Because the only way shaitan wins and drags us to hell is he takes away our worth from us. He doesn't let us realize how special we are. Every sin you commit, you've sold yourself short, yo. Every glance at haram, you've sold your eyes short. Every walk towards haram, you've sold your feet short. Every action with your hand done haram is you've sold yourself short. That is how shaitan gets us where he gets us. So the Prophet comes behind Zahir. He comes behind him and he hugs him. And just as a joke, he says, "Man yashtari al-abd minni." Who wants to buy him from me? Because they're in the marketplace. He's joking with his boy. He's messing around with him. But in that moment, Zahir slips up and he says something. He says, "Idan tajiduni kasid ya Rasulullah." If you try to sell me, ya Rasulullah, you'll see I'm not worth anything. And in that moment, I told you that the light of the Prophet ﷺ was such that he wanted to be around you so that you saw your way. You walked in his light. But here's the beautiful thing. That light also showed you the reality of who you were. So he looked at Zahir. He looked him in his eyes and he said, "La anta ghali indallah." No, in the sight of God, you are priceless. He taught us something, that so long as you use the society standards to measure your worth, you will never match up to anything. But the moment you measure your worth in the divine standards, you are priceless in the sight of God. You are priceless. You are special. People who spent time around him, who opened their eyes, they walked in his light. The Prophet ﷺ, he taught us that you can't change someone from a distance. So he got close to everyone, as close as he possibly could. And as I said before, he didn't look at who you are, but rather who you could become. Too many of us in this room are looking at our own family members not as who they can become, but who they are in this moment. No, not the Rasul alayhi salam. He made this dua, and Mufti Sultan, subhanallah, he spoke about this, but I want to go deeper here. The Prophet ﷺ, he made this dua. He said, "Oh Allah," you know this narration. "Oh Allah, strengthen Islam by any one of the two Umars. Ya Allah, whichever one wants to open their eyes, let them benefit from this light." But here's the deal. He realized the goodness inside both of these men that they could have reached to. And this is what I want us to understand. That from darkness to light means that not only do you embody the light of the Prophet ﷺ, but you become a light for other people. There are people around you in darkness, mentally in darkness, emotionally in darkness. If you want to hold on to the prophetic way, what you do is you pass on that light. You spend time around them so that they can walk in your light. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, "Oh Allah, help Islam by any one of the two Umars." He said this dua not because of what they were, but who they could become. I heard one teacher say, we were leaving school, we were done studying with one of our shuyukh, and he said, we said to him, "Shaykh, like, how are we going to go and give da'wah? How are we going to go and pass on this message? Like, we're using you as our guide." And he said, "I walked with you so you could walk in my light. But what you didn't realize is that long ago you started walking in your own light." Y'all don't feel me? You know, when I was teaching my son Qasim how to ride his bike, I would hold the bike from the seat behind. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But lo and behold, there came a point where I would be next to him and I'm not touching the seat no more. And he's pedaling all on his own. And he's saying, "Daddy, don't let go." And I'm saying, "I won't." And he's halfway down the street, riding on his own. He's got it on his own. He's moved on. But the moment he thinks that I'm there, it gives him the strength to keep going. In the last moments of the Prophet ﷺ's life, leadership through transformation, that is our topic. You have light within you. Are you using that light to help others see the path? And are you passing that light from one candle to the next? In the last moments of the Prophet ﷺ's life, I want you to picture this. He's too weak to go out of his room to the prayer. So he opens the curtain and he looks out at the Sahaba who are now riding the bike on their own, begrudgingly, scared, but nonetheless riding the bike on their own, if you understand the metaphor. And the Prophet ﷺ, he smiles. He smiles in this moment, and it's a bittersweet smile, y'all. It's a bitter smile because he's smiling because he has now lit the next candle that will light many candles to come, while his candle has reached its end. So he moves the curtain. And when he moves the curtain, he looks through that window and he sees the rows of the companions standing there in prayer, and he smiles. And here's what's ironic. The narrators of the hadith, they say his face was glowing. That light, he was glowing. And they prayed. The Prophet looked out of his window as his worldly light was being extinguished. But hundreds, if not thousands, of candles called Sahaba had been lit. So he smiled. Alayhi salatu wassalam. When the Prophet ﷺ passed away, the Sahaba, what did they say? They said, "Adlamat kulla shay." Everything became dark. Everything became dark. We lost our light. We lost our way. We didn't know what to do. But what they didn't realize is that the light had become them. Ashabi kan nujum. The companions are stars. He told them already, whichever one you follow, you'll be guided. My message to you is that you have a light. Your light has shown you the way to walk. Walk in that light. But don't walk with yourself. Grab somebody else to the goodness. Grab someone else to the masjid, to the halaqas, to the durus, to the lectures. Grab someone else so they walk in your light. And allow your light to let people see the goodness within themselves. We will become truly prophetic when the people we interact with realize the good potential that they have within themselves just by interacting with us. When the Prophet ﷺ made dua for either Umar, these were two people who were using all of their strength against Islam. But he saw good in people. He saw good in people. And it's because he saw good in people that they became good. And it's because we see so much evil in people that we make them the worst versions of themselves. It's because we see evil in people that they become the worst versions of themselves. But what was he like? He only saw good in you. So you only saw one path when you interacted with him. You only saw a way to become better. I ask you, are you helping people see the good within themselves? Because if you are, Tuba, good glad tidings to you. You are following the sunnah of the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But if people around you feel like they're in darkness, feel like they don't know themselves, and feel like they can never become better, then you are going against the sunnah of our beloved Habib sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The message tonight is simple, y'all. From darkness to light. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you were dead before, we gave you life. And then we gave you a light by which you walk. Brothers and sisters, take that light and walk with that light. Shine that light. Let other people see that light. And let other people see themselves through your light. May Allah accept us tonight, inshaAllah ta'ala. May Allah bless everyone who came out to join us this evening. May Allah bless all of the scholars who came from around the country to share their knowledge with us. Jazakumullahu khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.